He was only 6. A black first grader in the United States. He had just started school that year. Still learning how to spell his name. Still trying to make friends. Still trying to understand the world around him. But that day, the adults in charge made a decision that would follow him for years. He was having a hard time that morning. He missed his mom. He didn't want to stay in the classroom. The teacher said he was being disruptive. So the school called for the assistant principal. But when he still wouldn't calm down, they made a decision that would shock most people. They called the police. Not his parent. Not a counselor. Not a crisis worker. The police. 2 officers came. One stood tall, towering over him. The other held handcuffs. They told him he needed to leave. He cried. He said he wanted to go home. They told him he was being arrested. At 6 years old. He was handcuffed. Put in the back of a patrol car. Driven from the school to the local precinct. Fingerprinted. Mugshot taken. Processed. All for what the school called a tantrum. His mother arrived only after the damage was done. She was horrified. But she wasn't surprised. She said, "This isn't new. This is how the system treats our kids. Especially black boys. Like criminals from the moment they speak too loudly." The story made national headlines. Because no one could understand how a 6-year-old could be arrested in school by adults who were meant to protect him. The officers said they were just following procedure. The school said they followed district policy. But to the community, this was another example of how black children are criminalized before they're even old enough to understand what that means. Experts pointed out that white children in similar situations are more likely to get counseling, more likely to have their parents called, more likely to be seen as children, not threats. Studies show that black boys as young as 5 are perceived as older, less innocent, more dangerous, and those perceptions lead to situations like this. This child didn't hurt anyone. He wasn't armed. He wasn't violent. He was scared. And instead of compassion, he was met with cuffs. Civil rights groups got involved. They demanded an investigation. They demanded changes in school policy. They demanded training for staff and police. Because this wasn't an isolated case. It was part of a pattern. Across the US, thousands of children, especially children of color, are arrested in schools every year for behavior that should be met with counseling, not criminal records. The scars left behind aren't always physical, but they run deep. Children who are arrested in school are more likely to drop out, more likely to be arrested again, more likely to believe they are the problem, even when the system failed them. This 6-year-old eventually returned to school, but he didn't trust the teachers. He didn't trust the adults, and he stopped speaking for a while. His mother said, he changed that day. He learned something that no child should have to learn, that the world is not always fair, and that sometimes the people who are supposed to help are the ones who hurt. The police department issued a statement. They said they would review the incident. The school district promised reforms. But to this day, no one has been held accountable. No one apologized directly to the boy. No one asked how he was doing. Months later, he was still having nightmares. He still asked if the police would come for him again. This story is not about one child. It is about a system that too often punishes instead of supports, that sees black children as problems to fix, instead of humans to understand. And until that changes, there will be more stories like this. More kids whose first encounter with police is not protection, but punishment. Not safety, but shame.